Today I'm going to talk about Holbein artist colored pencils. These are made in Japan. Last year I received a set as a gift from my brother. Thank you to my brother for all his wonderful art supplies that keeps me happy with my art making, and colored pencils have always been one of my favorite things. So anyway, I need to swatch these. I went ahead and made swatch sheets. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I do a lot of swatch sheets in the Etsy shop, so that if you have these or are collecting them slowly, a couple at a time, because they're a little bit pricey, that's the best way to do it, is just get a few at a time and build up your stash. If you're doing that or with any other art supply that I've listed, then it's good to have a swatch sheet, because I list all the colors that they carry, and that way you can kind of fill in and see, you know, oh, I need a couple more blues, so this month I'll buy 2 or 3 blues. So I just love swatching for so many reasons, because it gets you in touch with your art supplies, and you see how they work, how they react on paper, and then you actually see the color, because a lot of times what you see on the paint or on the lead, or if you're doing watercolors or other things that are water soluble, you have to see how they actually work. And so that's what a great thing swatching is for. So anyway, what I wanted to do is to tell you that there is a link now for the swatch sheets for the whole set of 150 Holbein colored pencils. And I have listed it and made this set in 2 different ways. One way is, and it says right on it, is by grouping. So meaning all the blues are together, the greens together, the grays, the oranges, the yellows. They're in little groupings of color, because for me, that's how I like my colors to be. I like to look at all the yellows together and see, okay, that's the yellow that I want, and then pull that yellow out. Some people don't like doing it that way, so additionally, in the same swatch downloads, you'll get both kinds of set. You'll get this by type and by grouping, or by numerical number. So they're listed by number, and they'll be in numerical order. So when you swatch them, all the colors are going to be mixed up all over the place, but the numbers and the names and everything, they will be in numerical. So you can print out either set. When you do the downloads, you'll see that there's 2 different kinds of downloads. So there's the by group or by numerics. So let me just show you really quick here on swatching what I like to do to swatch. And I'm sure a lot of people do it the same way, but maybe not. Who knows? So these have the name. This says it's porcelain blue, and it's number 321. See if you can see that. Porcelain blue 321. So I'm going to the blue section, and here's porcelain blue. What I like to do is to initially, I lay down a light, I go light-handed, and I fill in the entire swatch box with 1 light layer. I like to get a gradient on my swatch so I can see what they look like. So I do 1 light layer, then I come back and I do a 2nd layer over that, same pressure on the pencil. And you kind of have to you should hold your pencils at a little slight angle when you color. That's the best way to color. And then now you're going to get a little bit more, and then I'm going to come back in over, and I'm really going to burnish to the left. That means pressing really hard and getting that color into the tooth of the paper. So you're going to get a gradient. You're going to see light, medium, and dark of your swatch, like that. So that's what I like to do for swatching, and to put my colors in as I get them. And there will be a link in the description box below if you're interested in purchasing these sheets. Now the other thing too, you can print them out on any kind of paper. So you could print them onto regular computer paper, but what I suggest is print them on a good paper. Cut this as Bristol paper. I cut Bristol paper 8.5 by 11. I put in 1 sheet at a time in just my little inkjet printer, and I print it onto Bristol, because if Bristol is where I'm going to be using them the most, I want to see how they act and react on the type of paper. If you're using just printer paper and you're coloring and doing your swatch, and printer paper is very slick and kind of different than Bristol, and then you go do your artwork in a Bristol sketch pad, it's not going to look the same. So you really should swatch onto the proper paper. If you've got watercolors, I cut my watercolor paper 8.5 by 11, and I put watercolor paper in my printer and then swatch my watercolors on watercolor paper. Just a suggestion. It'll make you a better artist when you understand your art supplies better, how they work, what they look like. You can make little notes in the margin, you know, of things like whether or not they are water soluble, or what are the best blenders that work with these pencils and things like that. For me, blender wise, there is a blender that is in the Caran d'Ache Luminance that I do like to use, a blender pencil that comes with that set. There's also a pen that you can get that is a colorless blender for colored pencils. There's colored pencil powder blender. That works great too. I use that on a kind of a scrubby brush or Q-tip to blend. You can use Gamsol to blend. You can use baby oil. There's so many things you can use to blend your colored pencils. So that's the other thing too. You've got your swatch sheet and you've got this Bristol paper. Somewhere where there's space, like down here, you can make a little note. This is what they look like with Gamsol, and you can blend color and blend with some Gamsol to see what it looks like. Try each of the types of blending, and then you'll see right on the paper what they look like as a final result. So that's going to help you when you decide what you're going to use on your piece of artwork. Okay, you can look at them and say, oh, I really like the powdered blender with these pencils, so I'm going to use the powdered one a little bit better than the Gamsol. Didn't like the baby oil. You know, you can make little notes on your paper about your art supply. So just a little bit about these pencils. Holbein pencils are Holbein artist colored pencils. They are definitely a higher quality pencil for colored pencil artists, and they are made in Japan. Their number or their name is on the pencil and their number, and next to the name is a star that indicates the color fastness of the pencil, so that's really nice to have. They are a soft lead oil-based pencil, so what I would compare them to is Faber-Castell Polychromos or Caran d'Ache Luminance. And as far as how I like them, I think that I like Caran d'Ache Luminance the best, and these are pretty comparable to the Polychromos. They're very nice. They blend well. Their colors are absolutely gorgeous. They do have a lot of pastels in the set as well, which is nice, and some fluorescents. A handful. I think about 6 fluorescents that go along with this set. There's 150 different colors, and they're beautiful pencils. I really like them a lot. They sharpen very, very easily, and they're very, very centered in their core, so you never ever have a problem with the core or the pencil lead breaking like some of the other pencils on the market. I find when I'm coloring with these that I don't have a lot of tip breakage, which is really nice. So you know, I am a light-handed colorer, and I do a lot of light layers. I do a light layer and then I build up my values. So I've never had a problem with any leads breaking. So they're beautiful. I really like them a lot, and they'll be great once I have my pencils all swatched on my swatch sheet. I think I'll really get a lot of use out of these pencils. So I give them probably 4 out of 5 stars, just for my own personal opinion. And I'm not being paid or sponsored by anybody. These are my own personal art products that I'm talking about. So I'm just giving you my review as I see it. So that's all I have to say about this, and there will be a link in the description box below. I have a lot of other swatch sheets for different art supplies like Caran d'Ache Neocolor 2s, different colored pencil brands like Faber-Castell Polychromo, Caran d'Ache Luminance, Lyra colored pencils, all kinds of things like that. So if you're interested in swatch sheets, check out the Etsy shop. This is going to come in a PDF file, so if you would prefer it to be in an Excel document, you can notify me and let me know, and I could send you that. Most people aren't using those, so my swatch sheets are starting to transition over into PDF files, so just so you know that. All right, so get to swatching, swatch your art supplies, go make some art, because art soothes the heart. Give your art supplies a little bit of love by swatching them.